Hello, hello, hello. It's Therapist Thursday. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. If you're in here like me, come on and drop a blue heart in the chat once you're in the room. And then once you do that, like and share this like I'm about to do. Like and share this video. Invite some people to come on as we are talking about blended families today. So come on in the room. Come on in the room. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. Have had an amazing week. And we're going to get this party started. Cool beans. So I have posted. Hopefully you guys have posted. I'm going to type this in the chat. Let's see. Alrighty. So again, happy Thursday. It's Therapist Thursday. So if it's your first time in the room, hello. I'm Kiara Johnson. I'm your host. Every Thursday at 3 p.m., we come on and we talk about mental health topics, right? So every week, people are sending me questions on the KiaraJBrand.com website. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can submit your questions about anything related to mental health. And me being an social licensed counselor here in the mental health profession in Alabama, I get to answer your questions. And so I'm super excited to be here again today so we can talk about another topic. Okay. Again, if you're in the room, let me know you're here. Drop a blue heart in the chat and share this with someone. Okay. And so today, which I'm really excited about this topic, today we are talking about blended families. Right? Blended families. And so I think I'm excited about this because I was part of a blended family and kind of just aware of all the little nuances and things that kind of come about when you are in a blended family. And so we're going to get to talk about it today. And so the question that was posed was do I think it is wise if a blended family seeks therapy, right? And so I think this was a great question to ask. And my answer is absolutely. Absolutely. I do think it would be wise and helpful if blended families considered going to a third party and seeking therapy. But before we get into all the deets, right, of course, what is a blended family? And so we know that a blended family is a family where one or both spouses are coming into the marriage with kids that they've had prior, in prior relationships, whether that was just in a relationship or a previous marriage, right? So that is considered welcome in. And so that's what we're talking about when we're thinking about blended families. We're talking about, and so just some data. We're all about data. We want to get some facts on it. And so the U.S. Census Bureau has let us know that 15% of children live in blended families. And where now we are experiencing blended families where people are married, get divorced and remarried more than not, right? And so this is something that we're always going to see, and we definitely have seen, right? So the different nuances with blended families, it can get a little dicey, right? It can get a little dicey, especially if you are coming into a new family where your parents were previously together, they divorced, and now you're having to, be raised in two separate households, that can bring about a lot of resistance, right? That can bring about a lot of different feelings, especially for the child and especially the parents as well. But with the children involved, this can bring about a lot of different emotions. It's a huge transition and adjustment that's taking place for the entire family unit and everybody that's involved, right? And so with some of the children that may be involved, you can typically see, of course, they want their parents to be happy, but usually they're constantly thinking about the other parent in which they don't live with, or who they having to split the time with, right? So this can cause distress. And then they can often feel disloyal to the other parent who they may not spend most of their time with, right? Bring about emotional, distress. You can see sadness, moodiness. Children can become hostile because, hey, you're you're disrupting their routine. You're disrupting what they know life to be, and so this could bring about feelings of distress as well. They may even reject the new spouse, right? Like, you not my mama, you not my daddy. Like, I don't want to listen to you. I don't want nothing to do with you, right? And then, of course, it's once you kind of couple in, how the relationship was started, the timeliness of it, all of these things kind of bring about, that rejection from the kids toward the new spouse or new parent, right? They could be resentful toward the step parent. And especially even as they get older, if we're thinking about things of estate and inheritance and things like that, that can bring about distress. The kids usually may feel unheard, unseen, unvalidated, especially if the transition took place, rather quickly and there wasn't a lot of communication or relationship building between all parties involved before the marriage took place. That can bring about those feelings. They can feel disregarded. Again, the disruption of routine can cause issues with the children, and then just issues with personal space, right? So we may be used to, of course, having that nucleus family system, and then it's being disrupted, and now I'm having to either share space or just get acclimated to a new space because my parents are no longer together, or I have a new step parent and we just moved into a new house, right? And so these are all those different like new little nuances that kind of take place when we think about blended families and how that affects the children. Now, we also know the parents get a run for their money as well, right? And so when we think about the parents, of course, they're responsible for the kids, making sure everybody, has what they need. And they're also experiencing a huge life change where they have found the love of their life for the second or third time, however many times it's been. And so they're trying to, of course, start this new relationship with their new spouse, but at the same time, they're trying to care for their children and extend their love to their now stepchildren, or children from their spouse. And so it's a lot of things going on, right? And so a lot of the challenges that the parents who are remarrying struggle with is whether or not the kids are going to ruin their marriage, right? Are we going to be able to get on the same page about the kids, how we discipline the kids, scheduling with the other parties, the other parents, just all these things? Like, is this going to cause a rift in the marriage, right? So that's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of pressure on the parents, right? And so, again, we know that divorce rates are through the roof, and we bind that in Jesus' name. But it is, the data shows that people are divorcing at high rates, and so divorce from the first marriage is accounting for like 41%. Those who have remarried for the second time, they still have a 60% rate of divorcing, and even on their third time, there's a 70% chance, a 73% chance that those marriages will end in divorce. And so, this is a very important topic and serious concern that one may have when they think about remarrying, and it's this thing going to work, right? Um, the parents typically experience rejection from the children, again, whether it's from their own children or the children of their spouse, which are now their children. They may not feel appreciated or accepted by their children or the other children that they now have in their life. They may begin to overextend themselves because they want to be accepted and they're trying to please everyone, which causes, of course, more stress on them. And the data shows that the stepmothers typically receives the brunt of this rejection or resentment from the kids. So for whatever reason, which I guess because everybody's like diehard about their mother, stepmothers seem to get the bad end of the stick when we think about rejection or not receiving or feeling appreciated by the children involved, right? Um, Negative thoughts toward children, right? And so you find yourself in this new marriage. You want to start, this new life with your person, but the way these children are acting, it's just like I feel bad for having these thoughts. But if I'm just being honest, I'm having negative thoughts about these kids. Like I'm having a hard time being able to that grace toward them. Because of how they're treating me to ship. And then of course these thoughts make you feel guilty. It can make you feel confused. It can make you start feeling, being very self-critical. Because of course we don't want to have these thoughts. But these thoughts are real. This is a real experience that you may have. And so, and then of course also feeling excluded from the stepchildren. And so, the children not really wanting to include you in their life because you're not their parent. And so that can be a lot to deal with. So we talked about how the children cannot feel heard, seen, validated, can feel sad, moody, resentful about being in the new family unit. We talked about how the parents can feel unappreciated, extra pressure because they're trying to make sure they're trying to join this new family together and keep everybody on the up and up as they're trying to build a relationship with their new partner. And so, as we can see, that's a lot. This team a lot, team stressful. And so, you can imagine if these parents, um, again, kind of got into a relationship quickly, didn't have the proper tools or communication around what the family is going to look like, how we're going to move as a unit, what is visitation going to look like, what's going to be required or expected from all parties involved, parents and children, and extended family and support systems in place. It may be school changes, all of these things, right, that should be considered. And so if one doesn't do that on the front end, then of course it's going to cause even more stress in the transition of this new family, right? And so this is why, yes, absolutely, it would be wise for blended families to go to therapy, right? Especially if you don't have the tools, right? It's a great place, again, unbiased party. You get to come in, it's a safe space. We can get everybody on the same page. We can explore, what our values are, what's important to us, the things that we need to put in place. We get to hear from everybody involved. Everybody gets to kind of put their input, it's considered. And then ultimately, of course, the parents get to decide, what's going to work best for the family as a whole. But it provides a safe space for everybody to get on the same page, and everybody can feel heard, everybody can feel seen, everybody can feel acknowledged. And then you guys can come up with a plan for that new family nucleus about how you guys are going to go about operating as a family, right? And so, absolutely, I think it's a great idea to seek therapy, family therapy, to make sure that we can get everybody on the same page, we can hear everybody out, and then execute appropriately for your family, because this is going to look different for everybody. There are different dynamics at play. Again, it's so many different systems and parties that's in place, and so we have to make sure we're covering all bases, because at the end of the day, of course, we want the parents to have a fruitful marriage, right? And then we also want the kids to continue to be able to develop in the way that they should, in a healthy way, even though they're going through this big transition, right? And so that may look like, of course, the family sessions. This can be some individual sessions, because just depending on the nature of um, The kids may need some individual therapy, the parents may need some individual therapy, and then we also come together, and so we know how we're moving as a unit. Because again, this is a lot for anyone to go through without wise counsel, right? And again, we're dealing with kids, and so with the big emotional transitions, because it can be a lot. Disrupting the routine can be a lot, and so we definitely want to recommend that when you need it. But again, everybody has to get on the same page, right? If we have direction and we know where we're going, then everybody can kind of get in their position and execute and operate effectively, right? So when we think about making sure that we have everything in place, these are some things that parents should consider. Of course, we want to listen to this. Like, yes, we know that you're the adult, right? Ultimately, it's up to you. You're going to make the decision for the family, but listen to your kids. Make sure that they're feeling heard, loved, because they're experiencing this to have a great life, a great love life, great spice. Also, experiencing this with you as well. And so, listen to the kids, right? They just need to feel heard and validated, okay? And this will also improve interest in the family, right? So if you hear your kids out and you listen to them, they'll be more apt to or receptive to their step parent and this new family that you guys are creating, right? And so always having that open line of communication can kind of mitigate the heaviness. Number two, slow, steady changes. Again, this is already a huge. And so if you try to implement all these new things or new strategies in the beginning, it could be a lot, right? And so even when you go to therapy, we can discuss all the things that we need to have in place, but we can we'll start at step one and then gradually add on those supplemental things that we need to have in place. And so it's not so drastic all at once, right? Um, Also remember, as we're listening to the kids and we're providing a safe space, as well as you're sharing your heart with them, make sure that we're not taking things personally, right? And this can be tough because again, being the parent, hearing certain things from your kid, hard to kind of digest, right? But don't take it personally. They're own, they'll take out those things when you guys are making decisions for the family. Okay. 5, to make this situation as palatable as possible, right? So when you think about the kids, like once you do things that they want to do, they're more apt to talk to you, be engaged with you, want to spend time with you more if you're showing interest in the things that they are interested in, right? So let's find some common things that we like, whether it's a family game night or we like sports or we like watching movies with each other or whatever that thing may be, but finding those common interests that you have with the kids and start there. And so that way they know, like, hey, I know this is a lot going on, but they're showing interest in things that I want to do. And so they'll want to do more of that, which will also start to alleviate some of the heaviness of the transition. And so you guys can start cultivating those relationships with each other. Okay. Lastly, we got to set the foundation of respect. Hey, we understand the children going to have big feelings, the parents going to have big feelings, but we got to set the foundation on respect, right? We're all aware of what's happening and it's a lot, right? We're experiencing it together. But that doesn't mean that, we have to be disrespectful or we have to disregard the other person's viewpoint or how they're feeling because of how we feel. Like, no, we're going to respect everybody's feelings and we're going to respect everyone in the situation and work together to get to a common goal. Okay. And lastly, establish house rules, right? And so this is really going to be, big for the parents in the situation to establish those house rules once we've heard everybody out and we've considered, everybody's feelings. Ultimately, of course, the parents will still decide how the family is going to move forward. and establish those house rules, right? Again, kids need structure, kids need routine. And so, yes, they're gonna have those big feelings and all these thoughts and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're the parent, and so you're gonna have to establish those house rules, right? And again, we want to include them, and so they feel included in what we're doing. And so these are just some little simple tips and tools that you guys can consider. Um, even if you haven't been to therapy, or you guys pretty much got a solid foundation, but there's some little cracks here and there. These are some things that can kind of fill in those gaps when you think about cultivating that relationship in a blended family. Okay, so again, yes, therapy would be a good option for blended families to have a safe space to talk out their feelings, reestablish structure, reestablish expectations of what this new family dynamic is going to look like, right? And so yes, if you're in the blended family and it's new and it's fresh, or even if you've been and you guys have just not been able to get on the same page about doing life with each other, right? It's never too late to seek out help, to seek out counseling or therapy. And so, hey, seek out those resources. And so you guys can get on the same page. And so you guys can live a fruitful life with each other. Okay? Good stuff. So I really love this question. Because blended families are beautiful, they're special, and so we want to make sure that you guys are equipped. Because again, a lot of us are out here living in blended families, and so this is a real thing that we're experiencing on a day to day. And so I thought this was an awesome question. Shout out to you guys for sending in your awesome questions. Awesome. Glad that this was helpful for you guys. And so, hey, if you know someone that's in a blended family and it's fresh, it's new, or they've been trying to figure things out, but not really working out, share this with them. Share these tips and tools with them. And so, they can share this with their family, or they can start reaching out to a family therapist or a counselor who, works with families, so they can get on the same page, right? We want families to thrive. Everything is birthed out of the family system, right? So we want to make sure, we're doing this life thing, as easy as possible. And so that's why we have these supports here for you. So share this with someone, like, share, comment your thoughts. If you're catching the replay, type replay in the comments. And so again, we're here every Thursday, 3 p.m. Therapist Thursdays, where we're answering your questions around mental health topics. Okay. So again, go to the KiaraJBrand.com, click on the bottom right hand corner, type in your message, your question in the message box, and I'll be collecting those questions. So every Thursday, we'll be answering those questions from you guys. So again, I enjoyed you guys. Hopefully this was helpful. If you want to watch all of our past episodes of Therapist Thursdays, go to our YouTube channel, the Kiara J channel, so you can watch all of our videos in one place. Or you can just come back to Facebook or Instagram to catch them there as well. But again, hopefully you guys have an amazing weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your